NAFTA talks are on hold for this long weekend, but Donald Trump's Twitter account is not. The president once again slamming Canada and threatening to just pull out of the deal. Lyndsay Duncombe brings us the latest.
From his golf course, Donald Trump took a swing at Canada, tweeting threats to leave NAFTA altogether, complaining the U.S. has endured decades of abuse. The Canadian response?
Our philosophy is keep calm and carry on. There is a sense that we can get it across the finish line, but there's a certain degree of volatility amongst certain of the key players.
By key players, he means the president himself. Trump campaigned on scrapping NAFTA, and he doesn't seem to be the type to accept a reasonable compromise.
In Donald Trump's mind, Canada needs to surrender.
But the failure to reach a deal by Trump's Friday deadline exposes the reality he can't always get what he wants. Congress has the final say on trade, and lawmakers from both parties were quick to say they won't vote for a deal without Canada. There's also support for Canada from business leaders, farmers, and unions.
Our economies are integrated. The three countries in North America, the economy is pretty integrated. And it's pretty hard to see how that would work without having Canada in the deal.
As for Trump's threat to pull out of the deal entirely, he can't do that quickly or easily either. Congress needs 6 months' notice. And many worry if Trump does impose tariffs on Canadian vehicles as he has threatened, the integrated economy means American workers would lose their jobs.
I think the president has this wrong and he's playing with fire.
Neither side is talking about details of the negotiations, but likely sticking points include access to the Canadian dairy market and a dispute resolution mechanism. Talks resume here in Washington on Wednesday.
The CBC's Lyndsay Duncombe in Washington tonight. So as she told us, there's no way to know how this will conclude. But what if worse came to worst and Canada was just left out of NAFTA? Well, there might be a safety net. Some experts think the old Canada-U.S. trade agreement would come back into force. Others say that's not a sure thing, might even require a presidential order. So what might a post-NAFTA world look like? Well, a report from RBC says some industries have so much cross-border integration they couldn't unravel it quickly. Tariff hikes would likely hit corporate profits and consumer prices sooner than workers. According to Moody's Investor Services, New Brunswick and Ontario could be hardest hit based on how much of their economies depend on exports to the U.S. BC is considered the safest.